Okay, so this one's gonna be a quickie, but I just watched the worst movie I've seen all of 2025 so far, and I wanted to talk about it. Kinda Pregnant is Netflix's new Amy Schumer comedy film, which I know for a lot of people will be an immediate turn-off and have them decide not to watch the film. But I'm not really familiar with Amy Schumer's body of work, and disregarding a film based on one actor is something I rarely really like to do. Instead, this film has been on my radar for about a month, and it's simply because of the plot archetype that it was going for being in the exact wheelhouse of what I like to talk about. If you've been watching me for 2 years or longer, you know exactly where this is going. But yeah, Kinda Pregnant plays a lot on the same plot beats as a little film called Not Okay, where it's one of my favorite films of all time. So I kind of wanted to come in and dissect where Kinda Pregnant fails while Not Okay succeeds. And if you've not watched Not Okay before, I implore you to stick around and also watch Not Okay. That movie's amazing. But this video is going to be a ride. Part 1. An unlikable protagonist. When you turn on Kinda Pregnant, you're greeted to a scene of two girls playing and pretending to be pregnant in the schoolyard. This is here to show that Lainey's super excited to eventually be a mother. Lainey's grown up to become a middle school English teacher who excitedly awaits her boyfriend's proposal later that night on a fancy date. However, it turns out that instead her partner wants to open the relationship up to a threesome, and she breaks up with him, and in depression she goes clothing shopping with her friend, and someone assumes that she's pregnant in the changing room by the worker, who decides to pamper her for it. Lainey, liking the pampering, decides to start faking being pregnant to reap the rewards. And then she goes to prenatal yoga, immediately latches onto another pregnant mom named Megan, and that's the gist of where things start to get in. So I'm gonna dive into the first major problem out there. There's nothing really in this film's writing that remotely makes Lainey either an enjoyable character to watch or someone that has complexity that you can see more sides to her. Sure, her life's going sour before, but she's got friends, is shown to be likable enough that she doesn't have to fake herself to find love. She has a solid job that she's in no danger of losing, and her lie is so she just gets pampered by random strangers that she doesn't even know. By contrast, Not Okay basically walks you through why Danny Sanders lies. She has no social circle, her job is one where she's consistently feeling undervalued at, even though they're treating her exactly as she deserves, probably keep being a little too generous. But the details even pointed out that even her family doesn't have the time to do stuff with her. The universe feels stacked against her from day one, and we understand why she would feel like it would be worth lying for a semblance of attention. The two characters' motivations and situations make all the differences for the rootability of its protagonist, because the crazy thing is Lainey does less horrible things than Danny, but within that, her motivation is so bad that she just seems to be an attention seeker, and instead Danny's horrible actions are presented as an act of desperation, and you get a lot more empathy for Danny's position. Point being said, from the start, I've been prompted to have no reason to want Lainey to succeed. Part 2. The Quest for Love. In Kinda Pregnant, Lainey is trying to connect with two people, Megan and Josh. Let's start with Megan. Megan is a mom that Lainey meets at mom yoga class, and when Lainey does a clumsy move, the instructor gets too involved, and Megan is quick to defend Lainey. From this moment, Lainey becomes latched on and locked into her lie. Now, there's a key problem in this character. Megan is the most bland, white bread character ever. She has no character traits aside from mom, and it makes me wonder what Lainey even admires about her. Meanwhile, we want to go to Megan's closest equivalent in Not Okay. It's like night and day. Rowan is a character who stands for so much when she speaks that it becomes easy to see how most people could admire her, although Danny's only really in it for Rowan's platform, and there's so much that makes Rowan a fantastic secondary lead that Megan really can't compare. I don't want to get into it. Again, Not Okay is the kind of film I don't want to spoil it for anyone who's not seen that, and most of y'all probably have not seen that film. So yeah, go watch Not Okay. Rowan's the best part of that movie. The other character Lainey is trying to connect with is Will Forte's character Josh, and I'm gonna give this movie props where it deserves it. Josh is the only thing I kind of liked in Kinda Pregnant. With the obnoxious script, Will Forte plays him with a sense of likability that makes him an endearing romantic lead. But this is 100% on acting over any writing choice. His character is still pretty weak, but there's something there. His closest counterpoint in Not Okay is Colin, who functions in a very different archetype to Josh. Intentionally, Colin's a very unlikable and shallow character who Danny seeks the admiration of from even before the big lie. But his character's flaw is something that shows a contrast to Danny. While Danny eventually grows to care about the situation she's caused, Colin is really never shown to think more past his vapid influencer life, and he winds up being the most unlikable character in the movie, carried by a lot of fans to a weird sense of liking him by Dylan O'Brien being declared hot by Letterboxd. With this said about the people who Lainey's in it to get the admiration of, what winds up being her obstacle? Part 3, Spanner in the Works. So, I want to talk about the reveal at the end of this film. After an hour of comedy shenanigans, because there's no plot that happens in Kinda Pregnant, Lainey would be found out for faking her pregnancy by her hated coworker Shirley. Shirley has consistently been ostracized by Lainey and her friend for the movie, and after finding out the blackmail, she leaks it to Lainey's best friend Kate, and winds up manipulating it into setting up a party where everything's revealed and Josh and Megan cut ties with her. The reason this doesn't really work is, why in the rubber ducky am I supposed to care about Shirley? Someone who's been a background character and not impactful for the whole movie, and I'm just left not to care about one of the film's biggest turning points. To swing things back to Not Okay, Harper's frustration with Danny is shown pretty early in, and she winds up having a believable arc from not liking Danny to having empathy and try to see the best, to finally investigating and confronting Danny while still leaving Danny the final choice on what to do. While Lainey makes the choice to come forward in the final scene, the biggest thing is it's done in a way where the impact feels like a generic fallout that would be used for a TV episode's second turning point, and it's overall pretty unimpressive. Part 4, Redemption Arcs. The final scene in the film Not Okay sees Danny attempt to approach Rowan at her talent showcase, planning to give the person she hurt so badly an apology and maybe make amends. In actuality, Rowan delivers a piece of spoken word that proclaims she and Danny would never be okay for what Danny did to her, in the best scene of the entire film. Danny, realizing this is a burnt bridge, accepts it and walks away, never to see Rowan again, and therefore finally starting her growth as a person. In Kinda Pregnant, Lainey feels bad and goes and successfully talks things out with both Megan and Josh, ending on a happy note as she finds out being a liar for attention is okay if you apologize after. The film ends with her getting a happy life with Josh together, and it's bad. This embodies a problem with Kinda Pregnant. It's a film that's supposed to be a comedy that both never makes the time to find you laughing or do what comedy's best at, challenging the norm. Kinda Pregnant's kind of as cookie cutter as you can get as a film, and with its generic feel-good redemption arc, it's extremely obvious where this film's writing shortcomings fall. Part 5, Conclusion. Look, so the video's short. Yeah, there's not much more I can say about Kinda Pregnant that's gonna be worth going into anyone's time with, so I decided I would use it as a chance to talk about Not Okay again. And I do want to end this with saying that more oftentimes than not, when people are talking about Amy Schumer, they tend to miss the forest for the trees, because a lot of her backlash winds up being in result to the existing misogyny that especially comes out when we, the internet, try to evaluate female comedians. It would be a boring video if I just pointed out the bad jokes, so I ultimately decided it was time to try and meet the film on its own level, and talk about why it fails to stack with another recent female-led comedy about a character who proves to be a liar. And that's really it. Don't watch Kinda Pregnant, watch Not Okay instead, and get ready for my next video by subscribing, because we should be tackling better pieces of media than this down the line. Also, and you guys should go check out my Patreon. I'm gonna be hopefully adding some new DLC content there soon, so yeah. But yeah, that's all. I just wanted an excuse to talk about a film that I loved, and Kinda Pregnant gave me the perfect chance. So see ya, bye!